What is good, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is your boy King. We are back again today, guys. We're about to check out Feminists versus Anti-Feminists, guys. I am here for the fuckery. I ain't gonna cap. I ain't gonna dug in this race. Let's see Wagwan. I'm just gonna review this, see who brings up the better arguments, the better points, and yeah, we're here to enjoy ourselves, guys. Don't take life too seriously. Obviously, these conversations must be had, but sometimes we need to, levy it down a little bit, have fun with it. But I'm here for the triggeredness, and let's see who gets triggered and who holds composure. Alrighty, without any further ado, guys, let's check this out.
Some pretty blanket statements saying feminists don't care about it, and you say you think that all women just are against men.
To answer your question, yeah, you're talking about women. Women are not all feminists.
Yeah.
I'm on smoke. Even the music is on smoke. Yeah.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. If you're a woman, you should be a feminist.
I think the concept of anti-feminism is like counterintuitive as a woman. Like everyone should want equality of the sexes, Everyone should want to have the same education level, the same all these things in a position and still make as much as a person who identifies as male.
In this society, we have to be feminists as women because there's certain things going on where our rights are being stripped away, and black women, black trans women are more likely to be murdered and attacked, and that's absolutely a feminist issue, and that's something that everyone should care about.
Everyone of any gender expression, men included, should be.
This is interesting because this is why I say people. Obviously, this topic is about this, but in terms of everybody should care about it. That's why people lose a lot of people. Is there are other fights that everybody should care about that people don't care about. Examples is like fight against cancer, funding research into like cancer and whatnot. Only when you are affected do you care to take up the fight. So again, in terms of looking at let's say Africa, the people who are working in the mines over there in inhumane conditions to mine the minerals required to make the smartwatches, the TVs, all the stuff we enjoy in the West. That should be something everyone cares about, but they don't. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't fight every single battle. You have to pick your battles, for you or yourself, and what is important to you as an individual. You have to prioritize. So people have got different priorities, and not everyone might care. Intuitively, as a human being, you might feel like, okay, we need justice for this, but will you take action to stop it? No. If you have other battles you're fighting, you're going to prioritize the ones that are most important to you as an individual before you come to other things. But
Be feminist. I think there are different brands of feminism, if you will, that don't represent what I think all of us here feel is the true ideal of what feminism
Absolutely.
is.
And I don't think that everyone has to be.
it should be equality, not equity. That's what it should be, in my opinion. It could be whatever it wants to be, but in my opinion, it should be about equality, not equity. You should be afforded the same opportunities to try, but if you do not meet the criteria, I'm sorry, you're out.
Be active as a feminist in the exact same way. Like, not everybody can march, not everybody can protest, not everybody can really be an advocate for feminism.
At the end of the day, it's taking a look at patriarchal systems and see.
This is funny when people say this. Taking a look at patriarchal systems. Like, this is the shit that ensured humanity's survival for the longest period of time. This is what allowed the Homo sapiens to dominate all other Homo species. You see what I'm saying? This is what got us to where we are. And now you want to throw away the book on that. Say, hey, fuck it. We go here, now we can, change. Obviously, change is always good if it's for the betterment of the world. But again, while you still are inherently a animal that has evolved from something that is a patriarchy, it's going to be hard to fight against your biology and the limiting factors of your biology to allow you to change that into something more equitable. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Seeing the flaws in those systems and how they negatively impact.
And just to be frank, there are flaws in the system. Just because, that's how nature intended it doesn't mean there are no flaws. It is sad that male lions, when they take over a new pride, they have to kill the other male's kids. That is sad. It's not a good thing. But again, we humans tend to give morality to certain things and look at things from is it good, is it bad? Oh, that's not morally good, that's not morally bad. And sometimes overcomplicate issues that should not even be overcomplicated.
Everyone.
I pause on that thought. Can the disagreeers step forward?
Yeah. It's about to get spicy. It's about to get spicy.
Define woman. Go, please.
God, she came on smoke. She said give me definitions, bro. Stop playing with me.
One of you.
Each your finger on the trigger.
A person who their internal idea of what they
Oh my God. She came with the biological definitions. Whose internal idea? Bro. I think I did this in another video and we looked at the definition. It's basically an adult female. That is the definition. Will it change in the future? I don't know, but as it stands, that's what it is. I feel like changing the definition of words really erodes culture and language, essentially. But could it be done? Yes, it could be done. But I am more the advocate of making new words instead of taking away old words and changing the meaning. But it is what it is.
they are is a woman.
Terrible definition. Coming from a lesbian, that destroys the very concept of our sexual orientation. Just saying that it's an idea.
why?
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 Because you can't be connected and sexually attracted to somebody's brain.
Let's make sure to keep it to the prompt. If
Bruh. When the producers have to come in and reel you back in. Bro, it's getting spicy, bro. How did she come so spicy, man? That's mad. She's not here for the buffoonery. She's here for straight facts.
you're a woman,
She said facts over feeling, but she's feeling it.
then you should be a feminist. Why do y'all
Oh,
disagree
okay,
with
okay,
that?
okay.
I completely disagree. Exactly 2 years ago, if I had done this, I probably would be a feminist. But then I started to look at, and I think the agreeers actually mentioned is, like, what do black women gain from feminism? Because I remember even during Black Lives Matter, when I led 2 protests for black women, and I counted how many white women I saw there, and the ones who were there, who were just there to take pictures for social media, and then the black men also hiding behind us. Everyone, the whole world hides behind black women. Enough.
Ooh.
Same thing.
Ooh, she said, ooh, stop hiding.
Look what's happening in Iran. People on the feminist side right now are not speaking up for those Iranian women. I have a friend that is trans woman living in Iran right now. It's miserable. Nobody stands up for that poor girl.
As a woman,
See, this is the problem. Is the people? This is what everyone should feel a need to change it. To have the equality, the equity, but you forget about your sisters on the other side. Just because they're not the same, skin tone, they're not in the same geographic region as you, you forget about those people. And that's the hubris of human nature. Like, you forget about those people. You don't care about the people in Africa, the women in the mines struggling, trying to feed their families. You forget about those people. So instead of trying to get those women on the same level as you're too focused on getting more rights and privileges in a place where you have the ultimate rights and privileges. Arguably more than that of even men in some situations. So it's crazy.
I particularly think I'm a humanist. For example, 2 years ago, I was a raging feminist, and I made a decision to pivot my platform, teach black women how to sit in our feminine energy, because we've never experienced that.
Well, that just sounds.
Yeah. Ooh. Sister, preach. Preach. Relax. Take the load off. You know what I mean? It's not boss bitch energy every day. You know what I mean? If you want to do that, fair enough, man. But it's again, the loudest voice are often the most insecure. So if you have to keep saying, I'm a boss bitch, are you really, or you just want to be associated with the title? Just do you, man. Live your life. You don't need to proclaim you're this or that. Just execute. If this is what you're going to do, execute. Let the people know who come into your life that this is what you're looking for and this is not what you're looking for. That's it. Simple. nice and clean. You don't need to be over here on the internet. I'm a this, that. I'm a this, that. Same with the dudes, man. You don't need to be over here. I'm this, that. I got this much. I got da-da-da-da. Just live your life, man.
It's like black feminism to me.
But the internet age has begun, and flexing is the way to go. So it is what it is.
Teaching women how to do that in the
Interesting
time
to
that
watch.
we are in now.
But we're not learning fast enough. We deserve to rest. We deserve to relax. We deserve to choose if we want to be a traditional wife. I went from
Facts.
law to being a CEO to now I just want to be a housewife. And every time I see that, I get so much hate. Like, women work so hard to get to this point. Why do you want to be a housewife?
Because that's what you
my
want.
choice.
That's what you want. That's the whole
choice.
point.
Feminism is all about choice.
Ooh, this is nice. Yo, this shit is
Exactly.
I'm
Why
loving this.
can't I choose? That's the whole point of feminism. It's like, why can I choose? What are you missing in America to claim that you are oppressed as a woman?
Well, we just
Go-
had our rights to our own uteruses stripped away.
Well,
by-
the
The right to murder your own baby, though. I mean,
it's
let's
not
be
a
real.
baby, it's a clump of cells.
I mean, we all are
Wow.
clump of cells right here.
I think everybody's going to agree and disagree.
Yeah,
on
that's a
that,
whole.
but I don't know if that's another topic. That's another topic.
I had a very, very hard time not stepping up to that prompt because my whole life I did consider myself a feminist. Seeing how this modern wave of feminism has now turned into something very different than equal rights. We all want equal, of course, we want equal rights. We want equality as women, of course.
But
we
how can you
are
have equal rights when you can't define the word woman on the far left?
Alta had a Women's Day recently, and the Women's Day was celebrated by 2 trans women who still had their male parts. I mean, you're pushing women out of womanhood.
I'm sure we're going to have discussions about whether or not a trans woman is a woman, but I actually want to go back to how we feel that our ideal of feminism is probably not the way that you four think of feminism. I'm willing to bet.
I agree with that. I think that's why people like me stepped away from that.
You know what? This is why in the past things just went to violence, because people are not willing to hear it. People are just like, fuck this civility bullshit, bro. I don't want to hear it. I'm on smoke. If you got something to say, roll up with your gang. We'll sort this out on the battlefield. Blood and that. Bring it. And just it's quick. It's easy. You don't have to sit there and listen to people you don't agree with. I guess that's why people just said, fuck it, war, wipe them out. I don't care. Fuck it. They don't agree. Wipe them out. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's mad, man. It's mad.
Not because we're not women empowered or believe in women empowerment.
It's because we are women empowered.
It's because we believe women empowerment means something different than what you guys believe in.
And what I've seen now,
Pause
too-
there.
Oh.
We're going to reset. Next prompt.
Jeez,
There's
she said, fuck
no
it.
wrong reason to get an abortion.
There's no wrong reason. Oh, come on, man. Come on. That's just... Anyway, it is what it is, man. Just because I felt like, I have the means to support the... fuck it. I don't know. You're probably wondering why I have this reaction. It's because, I myself, I identify with the Christian faith. So personally, it's a iffy topic. But for any reason, like, come on. There's some reasons where it's like, okay, yeah, cool, you can do it. But any reason, man? Come on. Ooh.
Okay. If you were making a health decision between you and a medical professional that is the right decision for you, your body, your future, it is always the right decision.
I would never stand between anyone with a uterus from making a decision about their body.
No, yeah, they're like, you can
Specifically with the uterus. You don't have a uterus, fuck you.
do it. You can have this health. You can have this health care if you are a victim of incest or a victim of rape. It's like you should be able to have access to that. What if you want it? It's about. It's the same as going into the doctor and getting a routine check. If there's something for your body that you think will, not just benefit you but help you live and also help you sustain it.
This is a sticky topic in terms of like governments and whatnot, because I feel like governments are starting to see that maybe there's a population decrease and a population decline, which will adversely affect the economy. So from their standpoint, they're looking at it as a way to save the economy and have that replacement birth rate still apply going into modern society is it's necessary for them to, they feel like maybe to put rules to regulate these things, to allow that, you know, even if mistakes are made, it's like, fuck it, we need the kids, we need the bodies in the world to keep the economy going, otherwise, you know, shit would tumble quick. But, you know, who knows, just a theory, but who knows.
An actual good life for your child, then that's what you need to do.
And
yeah,
financial is a huge thing too.
It is a huge thing.
It's an extremely huge financial responsibility to have a kid, and some people just don't have that means.
Yeah, but that's a reason. But if you say for any reason, like, I just, you know, fuck it, you have all the things necessary, you made a conscious decision to go into it, and then halfway into it, or not even halfway, like a few weeks into it, you're like, maybe I don't want it, fuck it. Like,
Agree and disagree. I'm definitely pro-choice. I'm probably the only anti-feminist that's pro-choice.
Being pro-choice, pro-abortion is actually very common. It's like 78% of Americans.
Okay, so yeah.
There's actually many people who are in your category.
Yeah, to me, it makes sense in certain circumstances. I don't think people should be using abortion as a form of birth control. I think, to me, abortion's, believe it or not even the issue we need to be talking about right now. I feel like we need to be talking about how to properly educate people, no matter what their status is, no matter what their sexual orientation, whatever. And we need to go from there.
Oh, it's about to get techie.
Well, I think I have a very interesting perspective on this because my mother opened the first Planned Parenthood in our state, and she is very pro-abortion outwardly, but inwardly in our home, we weren't allowed to do it. And so growing up at that dichotomy really, I think, messed me up a lot because I was like, okay, which one is the truth?
There are wrong reasons to get an abortion. A wrong reason to get an abortion is if you are going through your pregnancy and all of a sudden you change your mind. If you are irresponsible and all of a sudden finding yourself scared of motherhood.
When people say that women are getting abortions because they just don't want to be pregnant anymore, they're not actually understanding the way that an abortion works. Most of the time they're talking about late-term abortions, and what a lot of people don't realize is when you have that kind of abortion, you have to give birth to the fetus. There's no going back. You're literally giving birth to a body. It's never just a, whoop, I don't feel like being pregnant anymore. Guess these last 8 months I just wasted everything. No, no one's doing that.
Raising children is the most blessed gift. And I speak as someone who, when I found out that I was expecting for the first time, I kid you not, I was terrified.
But you were prepared.
No.
Ooh, don't speak for me. Speak for me now.
No, I was not necessarily prepared.
Sheesh.
I was not prepared. And I was very much caught off guard. And I was terrified because I had an incredible career happening for me on the upswing.
Finances.
I had, let me finish.
Bruh, she's looking to interrupt, bro. Shut up, man. Let me finish what I'm saying, bro. Before I jump over there and catch you on sight.
I had such a dramatic, fearful reaction to becoming a mother because of what our society has been telling me for throughout my adolescence and my early 20s, is that once you become a mother, it's all over and it ends. And that is a very, very deeply rooted problem in our society that I do think we need to address.
That sentiment is the patriarchy in action.
She said the patriarchy. No. She said the patriarchy, the P word. Oh, no. Whenever they ask the question, you know, what humans put on this earth to do what they want to do and live the best life they can, essentially it's just to survive and procreate. That's why people get horny and whatnot. It's modern conveniences that allow you to make the decision to do what you want to do with your life. Without those modern conveniences, having sex in itself is just you signing up for the risk of getting pregnant. Like, bro, that's essentially what life is about, you know, to procreate. That is the essential purpose of it. Every single animal, including us. People want to, we're not animals, we're in the animal kingdom. Shut up. Until we get removed as a supreme species that do not associate with animals from that animal kingdom in the phylogenetic tree, then we can talk about that. But till then, we're still in the animal kingdom, and we are animals, and we still have the same basal urges as animals. We still have the fight or flight responses. We are animals. We still get horny because we want to procreate. That's the whole point. Procreate. Why do people start getting broody, especially women start looking at kids and babies and think, oh, they're so cute, I want babies. They're so cute, they're so cute. Because it's instinctual, it's natural. But society is trying to override this with, you know, the propaganda machine to tell people, now stay in your career because it's economically beneficial at the time. But in the future, when the population's on the decline and these companies are hiring for employees and the revenue goes down, then you start to see the swing in a different way. Maybe of the message to say, oh shit, maybe you might need to, you know, repopulate. So you might see the propaganda machine change in its ways to maybe start promoting these things. So I don't know, man. It's interesting. It's interesting topic, man. Interesting stuff. But let's go on.
What is the patriarchy?
What isn't the patriarchy? I feel like that's the better question.
And this is the essential thing. Like, no jokes aside, this is a serious topic, so I'm gonna address it with seriousness. It all fundamentally comes down to strength and the difference in strength between the two, men and women. And that's why in history women have been subjugated to live kind of beneath men, essentially. It's because of that strength difference. Because, you know, if men decided to say, hey, this is what we're going to do, the women can really uprise and fight against it, because ultimately the men will win the superior in physicality. So there was no way for that situation to go their way. So that's why it is a patriarchy. You know what I mean? And it is the best way for us to ensure survival, because, you know, you need the women protected and the men going out there, you know, to fight and die, because, you know, men are expendable, women are not. But anyway, let's see what they're about to say.
It's a systemic.
It's not a systemic, it's nature. But okay, cool, because it's what allowed us to get to this point. It's systemic now because that's how we evolved to this point, is because of that. The P word, the patriarchy, whatever. It allowed us to get here evolutionarily. Whether we need it now or not is a different story, but in places where, like Africa, you damn sure, you know, it's still living alive and well, because it's the optimum way of survival. It is the optimum way. There is no, to do it any other way would be non-beneficial, especially in villages where, you know, the mother or the parents, one of the parents is a key important figure in relaying information and rules of the world to their children. Like, you need someone there, and that's why historically it's been that way. But now we can outsource that activity to nurseries and so we can obviously switch it up a little bit going forward. But, you know, the nature still sticks, man. People are trying to outrun their own biology, and it's funny to watch, because we'll see how we progress, man. Because eventually we just need to, maybe with a neural link, we'll be able to turn off certain parts of our brains that, you know, relate to that natural instinct that we have as human beings. But then, I don't know, we might have a pure, let's still be human group, and then let's all change into cyborgs, and then that's going to be the next war we're going to fight, instead of these type of things, you know, patriarchy, matriarchy. You're going to be looking at cyborgs and humans. Which side do you want to be on type shit? So the future's going to be crazy, and I can't wait for it.
Ideal that favors masculinity, men.
And she's right, it favors them because, again, like, strength-wise they're superior, so they don't have to be smart. If they make a choice, if they make a decision to do something, or back in the past, that's what they would do. They would just, you know, ensure that everyone goes along with it, because they had the power, essentially, physically, to enforce it.
Male power, male dominance.
The traditional idea of what a man is.
The patriarchy is a system that oppresses not just women.
Okay. I gotta get my Googles out here, man. Let's see what Google says on this. I love how it's so interesting, because anyway, patriarchy, a system of society or government in which the father or eldest male is head of the family, and descent is reckoned through the male line. Interesting. A system of society or government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded from it. A society or community organized on patriarchal lines. Boom, boom. There we go. But why are humans that way? It's just, essentially, if we want to boil it down to the essential bare bones of it, it's because of the strength difference, the strength differential. That's why. Look at other insects? Why are ants matriarchies? Because the queen is the one that can reproduce, so they have to protect them with their lives. Hence, they are the leader, because everything they do is to ensure that their survival, the queen's survival. Everything they do is to ensure that queen's survival. So yeah, and everything essentially that men do largely in history is to ensure their family's survival. Whether it be go to war and eradicate the other people, it's because if back in the day, you didn't have things like Twitter or Instagram to understand what the other side was thinking. So if you sense a threat and you feel like the other people don't agree with you or align with you morally and your values, then they are a threat to you down the line if they feel like, if they have the power. So get them before they get you type shit. That's what it was back in the day, man. Shit.
But everyone.
It's not patriarchy, because the people who scared me so much were the women mom bloggers.
Just because it's coming from a woman.
Coming from women does not mean
but
that
these
it's
were
not
the
from
no.
patriarchy.
These were the women, and I speak with really strong conviction about this. The women who are publicly outward speaking to other women through blogs, through social media, talking about, my life is so hard because of my kids. Oh, my kids are jerks. Oh, life is this. I have no money. Those messages are very, very pervasive, and they're very dangerous, and they're toxic
But
to
they're
women.
also real parts of motherhood. We just discussed how motherhood...
How many of you are mothers here?
I am not a mother, but...
Hey, I am a mother of 12 years. And I know all of the very, very hard parts of motherhood. And I just wish, as someone who has actually, as the only person here who has gone through this motherhood experience, I, from the bottom of my heart, wish that the positive aspects of motherhood supersede all of the hard stuff.
Let's get back on prompt. Again, there's no wrong reason to get an abortion. Isabella,
I want
to hear from Isabella.
There's been so many points I want to talk
I was going
about.
to talk about Candace, maybe. Candace, what she says about...
I don't even know what she said.
Oh,
Just let her talk.
sorry.
So my parents actually had me when they were 19, and thank God they didn't abort me. They were not ready. They were in a terrible situation, and having me at 19 made them grow up and mature and become adults and not continue being on a bad path. So I'm thankful for that. And a lot of, something that you said it's society's, I think it was about society's pushing this idea, like demonizing motherhood, and you said that's part of the patriarchy. Well, I would ask you this, don't you think men benefit from women getting abortions because they no longer have to deal with it? They can just sleep around and
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Oh my gosh. Someone said it, man. It logically makes no sense if that's your stance. It's the patriarchy, bro. Because niggas is trying to smash and dash, bro. They ain't trying to stay and take care of no babies. What are you talking about, bro?
God forbid a woman gets pregnant. Oh, she wants to abort it. Cool, now I'm off the hook.
What is the patriarchy?
Sheesh.
I don't even know what that men oppress us and
That everything that goes wrong, that men are to blame. And I don't think that's a healthy way of being.
very happy to live under this so-called.
You take away agency from your own life because there's a higher enemy, and this is what people do. Same with like the whole discussion about the Matrix is trying to oppress you. There's obviously a level of things in the world that try to oppress different groups and different people, but at the end of the day, you have to take that agency in your own hands because it is your life, and no one's gonna save you. You're your own hero, so you gotta do what you gotta do, and you gotta do what is best for you as an individual, for yourself, and for your family if you have one.
Patriarchy.
This word patriarchy, it
Gets
does
thrown around
not
too
make
much,
any
man.
sense to me. Women are not oppressed in America.
Patriarchal society
That's
doesn't
true.
bother me. Like Marilyn Monroe says, as long as I can be all of a woman in it, I am not bothered.
The feminist movement is inherently racist.
The feminist movement
I don't
does
even know
not
about this.
benefit POC
People of color.
in any shape or form. It especially does not benefit black women. And the darker your skin is, the more you are used. I call us black women as the bullets for the feminist movement.
If we're talking historically, if we're talking how feminist movements started, it was an exclusionary movement.
Absolutely.
If we go back to the suffragettes or even further, black women were not allowed to join in that effort because they really weren't fighting for black women.
Until we were used as bullets.
Right.
If we're not being used, we can't be part of the movement.
They did use black women. They used black women's efforts because most achievements that feminism, you're right, like most of the achievements of feminism have been done by black women, and white women have stepped in and taken the credit for like people who do identify as feminists, especially those of us who are white. I think the most important thing for us to do is to sit down, shut up, and listen to black women.
Jeez. When the POC speaks, you listen.
As a black woman who identifies as a feminist, my work centers black women. So to say that, you know, of course, like white women were able to vote before black women. Like the feminist movement was inherently racist, but how I live my life and the way that the community that I've built around myself of black feminists, we see.
But why label it feminism?
Well, you can label it whatever you want, but
helping other black women.
I affirm you, and I see that the
that's
semantics makes you uncomfortable because feminism was racist, but you
it is still racist.
But you're not racist. So if you are not racist and you have issues that you want to be working towards for black women, that doesn't mean that you're inherently being racist or helping white women. I think feminism exists on a spectrum.
We're talking about semantics. We're talking about terms. They evolve and they change. Ideologies change. Right. And I think that feminism is evolving and changing, and I think it's because of the work of people like you. And so that's why I can confidently say
it's evolving. It's not evolving. I think it's devolving. You know, I think third wave feminism. I mean, by all accounts, I see. You know, again, have a very powerful black mother, a very feminist black mother, and I've seen. I would never forget this as she's battling cancer, and I'm holding her hand in bed. And she's married to my dad, who's a very passive man. He's a professor, but very passive, and took the front. She waited for my dad to leave the room and said, maybe you can find a man to take care of you. And this is at the...
Yo, because that's what she wanted. She didn't want to be at the front. God damn it. It was not because she wanted it. It's because she had to do it. It was not because it was optimal. But it's something that was the situation, and you had to do what you had to do to ensure that situation was the most fruitful. That's what I say. You want to optimize the situation, because I tell you now, men in general are built to be the backbone of society because we are the workforce, essentially. Like we are like the mules, because we don't have to take time out to, to go through menstruation or take time out to go through like pregnancies or whatever. We are like the donkeys. We literally like the donkeys, man. We're out here. That's why it's, bro, I don't know, man. Hey, people are fighting for what they're fighting for. It is what it is, man. But I'm just saying, bro, what would you want to fight? If I was a woman, I would be firmly against trying to be a boss babe, man. I'm trying to chill, bro. I'm trying to live good in that big house. And my man take care of me, or live good in that small house. As long as I ain't gotta do shit, just take care of the house and clean and take care of the kids. Bro, I'm Gucci, bro. I'm Gucci. In my spare time, play some video games. Sheesh, I ain't complaining about that. But anyway, that's just me personally. But to each their own, man. And that's why we have to appreciate the world we have now, because it allows for choices and people to make choices. It's just interesting that people shame each other for each other's choices. We shouldn't really be shaming people for their choices. That's their choices. Who cares, man? Focus on you. You too focus on what other people are doing. Just do what you gotta do, innit? Trust me, there's people out there who have the same mindset as you. You just have to find them and link with them and live your best life.
My mom is like, she's like this thing that's bigger than life. She's so big, like untouchable, like, like powerful, and no one could tell her. And just to see her weak, and her only regret now is that she never got to rest, and she never met a man to take care of her. Even though my dad is incredible in his own way, but she never experienced what it feels like to be a woman.
To rest in the femininity,
I refuse to. I would rather die alone than experience a marriage like that. After 40 years of fighting and being a feminist, And she is now at her end. I mean, no one wants to say they did life wrong, but she's saying, man, I wish I could have taken care of myself. I wish I could have done this. I love how you get your hair done and you go get makeup done and you're so, and she says it, she wasn't there in the household to raise us, back to motherhood, because she was gone fighting every single day for women's rights to come home and be exhausted by the time she gets home. And we never got to have a mother, you know.
When I scroll my own social media feed, I rarely see a powerful woman highlighted who is not an ethnicity. It's true.
You're using them as pawns.
Yeah, using them as pawns.
Oh, 100%.
A lot of big brands are now hopping on this, modern feminism bandwagon, which I don't agree with what modern feminism is.
The brands don't care, man. Anything they do is to make a buck, bro. You hear about the shadiness in the music industry. They don't care about the individuals. They just care about the money, man. Same with the brands. They don't really care about the issues. They just care about the money. Everything they do is for the money, man. It's for the money. It's for the money, man. People say that, the world has really changed and we've evolved. We really haven't evolved. People are still seeking power and status, but just in different ways.
But a lot of brands now, and I'll just say, a big brand that comes to mind is Dove. Diversity is always a good thing. However, for years have not seen any kind of a ad campaign from the brand Dove speaking to women's empowerment that includes a woman that looks like us. What modern feminism today is lacking, I think, is genuine respect for diversity of opinion for all women.
If you felt modern day feminism didn't hijack all points of view of women, that you would still identify as a feminist?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, the entire time everyone was
Makes social
talking, all
sense.
I was thinking was, wow, I'm so sick of all these labels and all these different intersections. And these days there's more intersections than genders. And I'm just like, all these identity politics groups, we're just pitting each other against each other.
Yeah.
Race keeps getting brought up. I know it's brought up in the prompt.
And it's funny because the people who benefit are the people who use these movements for their benefit. The companies, the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, while they fight for these things that really don't even matter that much at this point, where these fights could be fought somewhere else in other countries where there's a bigger disparity in privileges between men and women, but they're not being fought there. They're being fought in places where arguably on the face of the law you all have equal rights, bro. Wasting energy, bro.
For this one, but in every single other one. And I don't even think about this. I don't even think that I'm not being represented even in ads. I don't care. It just does. I don't. Sure. I am me.
I'm clearly I'm sure you don't care.
You don't have to care.
Thank you for letting me know that. You always know, feminists always know best for me. That's what I've noticed. It's a trend.
Yeah, she said. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just pointing
So
out that
spicy,
you
bro.
are a privileged white woman who has not.
Oh my God, it's this white woman trend, bro. What? Oh.
Had to see the lack of diversity. When we step into a room filled with other white people, we don't notice that it's other white people. But when women of color have stepped into rooms and they see that it's just a bunch of other white people.
Also, intersectionality is not just about diversity.
We can acknowledge this, but we have to get over these things, and in order to truly move forward as a human race, as one people, one nation, we have to appreciate the differences and not be too on everything, man.
It's certainly not about diversity in ad campaigns. It's about how poor women can't afford to drive to another state to get an abortion, but rich women can.
It costs more money to drive to get an abortion than it would take to raise that kid?
Well,
Just saying.
but that's the thing, right? Like, if
It
you
just
don't have the money to drive,
So you're telling me you can't get a quick buck working at McDonald's to drive to get a bus to go to another state? Come on.
to get an abortion, how are you going to have the money to raise that child? Why should you be forced into motherhood?
Feminists don't appreciate all that men do for society.
Choose. Oh, this is tough. This is a
I've
tough
got a
pill
lot
to
to
swallow.
say about this. I mean,
This is a tough pill to swallow. Ha! Oh my gosh. This is gonna be the most heated part of this, man. I don't even know if I can withstand the heat and the fire. Oh Lord.
feminists just demonize men. They hate men. All men are trash. They say they hate men, while simultaneously trying to become men. They hate them for having power and the patriarchy, so they're trying to overtake it. But a lot of women will talk about rape culture, but guess what? Guess who's going to protect you from bad people? A man. Women are nurturers. We need men.
It's as simple as that. It's a God-given right for men to exist the way they were assigned to exist. We need men. It's very simple. We need men to procreate. We need men to provide. We need men to produce. We need men to go to war and die. We need men. It's so bad now that men they're so scared of us. They're terrified all the time. I go on dates with men and they're like, am I allowed to open the door? Can I not open the door? Can I touch it? Can I pull the chair out? What can I do? And they're shaking, they're sweating. And you're just like, be yourself. Just, it's okay. You like, they're so afraid of doing anything wrong.
Bro.
So much so they're now the most lonely demographic in the world, right? Like they straight white men, I heard, are now the most lonely because they just creating incels, you know. They don't want to leave their apartment or their house because they're so afraid of women.
I'm not on board with this trend, especially happening in schools right now. There is a trend where they are raising up the girls. Girl power, girl boss, girl this, you know, run like a girl in the best way possible.
You're gonna make me vomit.
That's, now it's dangerous. It is dangerous because, yes, we want to uplift our women. That's the right thing to do so that men and women do maintain equality. But at the same time, by raising the girls, we are forgetting about our boys.
Yeah, they want to solve inequality by enforcing more inequality. And if women were equal to men, then why do the girls need to be raised up so much? Why? The only men that feminists like are men dressing as women and dominating their sports and just really reversing what the other waves of feminism fought to do. Have fun with men beating you in your sports, women, because guess what? You're not going to beat them. Have fun. I never even felt unequal. So I don't even know what the problem is. I feel like a lot of people just want to have a reason to be upset and outraged. I also just don't identify with all these identity politics groups. I think they're being pit against each other, separating all these different people by race, class, gender, everything, sexual orientation.
And people, man.
I look at people as individuals.
All right, on that note, let's have the disagreeers step forward.
There's a difference between not appreciating men and pointing out the inequities that have been systemically put in place to favor men, especially white men, white straight men. There's a difference between hating men and pointing out that there are inequities.
I want to talk about this concept of protection. We're talking about good men who are protectors. Who are they protecting us from?
Bad men.
Bad men, exactly.
Yeah. Or bad women, bad anybody.
I could drive a car and
it was a rhetorical. I guess.
No, I understand the point you were trying to make. That's why I said what you wanted me to say.
But I'm going to finish. So then, who benefits from men's bad behavior? Good men as well, right? They get to be positioned as the good guys, good apples.
Whoa. There is no way. I don't understand this delusion. There is no way you're going to eradicate bad people. There is no fucking way. There is no way unless Elon comes up with the Neuralink that dissolves the part of the brain that triggers anger and, you know, the willingness to fight. Unless you take that away, there is no way you're getting rid of bad people. It's a reality of the world. That's why you have to be perspicacious. Thank you, Andrew. You have to be perspicacious enough to understand the situations you're always in and the situations you're putting yourself in, so you can always be thinking about the optimal result for yourself and ensure your survival. Bruv, it's like, it's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. You know, it's good men protect us from bad men, but it could be another country trying to fuck you up, man. It could be another country trying to fuck you up.
They're the good apples. And that is predicated on the bad behavior of men.
No, they benefit from being a good person and protecting women. Who cares? We should not be praising people based off comparing them to bad people.
But I don't benefit from being...
that doesn't make sense. It's like saying this one woman did this one bad thing, so we should persecute all of them. Bro, that makes no sense, man. No, it's starting to seem like the Salem witch trials, but in reverse.
A good girl.
You're a good feminist, right? I'm sure people love what you have to say as a feminist. Other feminists agree with it and are like, yes, go girl boss.
There are
good
people on earth and bad people on earth. We're always going to have that. That will never change. It's in every animal kingdom.
Yes.
So we need the good man to protect us from the bad man.
To go off of what you said, because you said when women are sexually assaulted, they turn to another man to protect them. I work as a sexual assault and domestic violence counselor. I work with rape victims every single day. They don't turn to men to protect them. They don't.
I didn't say they turn to them. I was saying
No,
like
that
they potentially can, if you're walking home alone at night and
I
you're
don't
afraid.
turn to another man.
Right.
I don't. I turn to other women.
Yeah, I appreciate men that, like, I love a man that knows his place. Build the house. Yeah, repair that. Because I'm a goddess. Like, if you need to.
Oh my God. Oh no. Holy. You're a human being, man. Stop elevating yourself to these God level statuses, man. Please. Have some humility. Humble yourselves, man. It's hubris, man. Look where I got Andrew. Don't let it get you in the same place, bro.
To hold your weight in the relationship. Like, I appreciate men. I love
gosh.
men. Like, just like you said, you have a
Anyway, I ain't even got time for this.
husband, you want to cook for your husband, you make sure that he's good. Men have roles in society as well. Feminist is anything you want it to be. As a woman, I am.
There should be you can't be. This is, bro. And I'm just stickler for this thing because I like to understand rules and regulations. There have to be guidelines. We can't just be this. There is anarchy if there is no guidelines. It's just wishy-washy. It could be this, it could be that. Then why is the word even defined if it could be this, it could be that? Who the fuck cares? And it's a useless word if it has a definition that is so fluid, bro. What is going on?
Promiscuous because I'm a feminist, but you can also be conservative because I'm a feminist. Modern day feminism is about you and what you make it and not what someone 60 years ago said it was.
Okay, no.
But I don't praise men because they aren't raping. Like, that's...
I agree with everything you just said.
You're agreeing with us.
I agree with you fully.
The same exact thing. Like,
yeah,
that's
but I
actually
disagree
the
with the
movement.
prompt because I do appreciate men. I don't think that feminists don't appreciate men. I think that's not true.
Like the person who taught me to be the feminist that I am was my father. My father did not raise me to believe that I was less than because I was a woman. He raised me to understand that I am societally disadvantaged, but he told me that I was going to rise above that.
My household, my mom was so strong that my dad became so emasculated that he cannot do anything. He stopped working. He became just like a couch potato, right? While she just went out there and kill it. And we are destroying family, as we know, because look at me. I'm in my 30s. I'm not settled down. I don't have children. I don't have this family unit that I want so terribly because no matter how hard I tried, that feminism that I was raised with always tend to overshadow my relationship because in my head I know best, right? Like I know what's right. I know because I saw it growing up. I saw it modeled to me growing up. Like a woman knows everything. We're so powerful.
But the
We're
idea
so strong.
that men are supposed to be the head of the household, do you understand that that is killing men?
It's not. We do things so people can depend on us. We don't do things for no reason, man. We do things so people can depend on us. People can come to us for help, guidance. That's why we do things. That's why most men do things. So people can depend on them. Whereas these lot seem like they're trying to do things to be free of that. Oh, it's all about me and myself and how I feel, how I define, and how da-da-da-da-da. Some selfish ass bullshit, bro.
That's killing men.
It is killing men.
Well, let them die because they need to go back to working.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, fuck that shit, bro. Yeah. If you can't hack it, bro, get out of here, bro. Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Get out of here. You, in the cold, harsh realities of the world, you have to be capable. In the cold, hard realities of the world, if shit goes south, you can't sit there. You have to be capable. You have to do some shit. You have to do some shit. And if you can't do some shit, you ain't worth shit.
The pressure of it is destroying their mental health. That's why.
The pressure of it, bro. Where's most of the pressure coming from? This is the thing. Where's most of the pressure coming from? Because everyone, again, people don't really think about these things because now it's not just competition between men and men. It's competition between men and women. So now it's like even heightened. So the men you've been competing against in the past, you can still manage to get a wife and a thing, and have a nice family. But nowadays, you're competing against the same women you want to get as well. So if you're not out competing them, they're not even gonna look at you. They're gonna look at you down there and be like, bruh, nah. You're too low for me on the totem pole, man. I'm trying to look up.
Men are 6 times more likely to commit suicide than women are, especially men in committed relationships. Men in their 40s.
But why? Why? It's because you lot are naggy. You're agging the man there, man. You're agging them. You're annoying. Bruv.
That are
This is rough.
married with families
This is rough.
are the highest risk for suicide.
But it's killing men because we have generations and generations of boys who were not raised to be men and rise to that occasion.
It's killing men because we are not in a position capitalistically where we can have men be the one single head of the household, the bread earner, the decision maker. We are no longer in the 1950s.
You can delineate the activities, man. You can delineate. You can compartmentalize. Okay, everything related into this, you call the shots. Everything related to this, I call the shots. Play to your strengths, man, and come together as a team if that's what you want to do, bruv. But it is what it is, man. You can make it efficient. People just want to make it efficient.
Economy is not able to handle that kind of nuclear family with the man being the head of the household, the stay-at-home moms and the 2.5 children.
I want to clarify, I'm not a stay-at-home mom.
No,
I do work,
and
so I do have perspective. When you are in a long-term marriage or relationship with a partner of anyone, yes, you're going to have disagreements, but you also have to understand that each person in that partnership does have roles.
Exactly.
Because that is how a healthy family functions.
Only women.
That's how a healthy anything functions. A healthy company, that's how it functions. Healthy relationship, that's how it functions. Healthy friendships, that's how they functions.
Make laws about women's bodies.
I'm going to add a minor caveat to this and not say that entirely just women should make laws about women's bodies. And I think it's more important that people who are educated on the female body are the people who are allowed to make laws about the female body. We shouldn't have lawmakers making laws stating, oh, abortion is completely illegal, even if it's an ectopic pregnancy, you can reinsert that fetus. No, you're killing people if you make that kind of stupid law.
It doesn't mean that any of our male lawmakers can't be involved.
And frankly, I think they need to be a little bit more involved. Some of them are slacking.
Yes.
They are letting me down.
Yes,
And I think there are a lot of men who hold a lot of power, who are on our side, who are not doing enough.
Oh, Lord.
I want to say it's funny because I think you all spoke for us. Because I think you all agreed that everyone should be involved in it.
The world is doomed, man. If there's this level of disagreement in every community, everywhere, bro, the world is screwed, right? The West is finished, man. There's not enough cohesiveness. There's not enough unity. There's not enough, man. They tire you out with these conversations, with these thingy. And once you're tired, you don't even want to go outside and elevate yourself in your life. Because you're like, fuck, I just had that whole long discussion about this thing, and I feel like I got my point across. You feel accomplished after you go through one of these debates or whatever. Oh, bruh, this is rough, man.
We need men. You see how simple that was?
And men can be women.
Right, Africa's going to be on the rise at this point, man. Africa's going to be on the rise, man. If they stay steadfast to their values, and that's why China's going to rise too, man. Because, bro, they're strong in their values, man. Uncompromising, they understand the rules and regulations and the things they have to do. Is it tyrannical? Maybe. But is it efficient? Yes, sir.
Men can't be women if they actively identify as men. That's not a thing.
I currently identify as a man.
Okay, then you're a man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you agree that these laws that are specific about our bodies, shouldn't the originators of that bill talking about our bodies be women?
Answer that. Can y'all?
No. I don't think we should think about men versus women. I think we should have intelligent.
It's not about men versus women. Of course, men are going to be involved with creating laws and putting laws into place. But when we're talking about the language, when we're talking about verbiage for these laws, shouldn't a woman be, multiple women preferably, be
involved?
Yeah, be at the forefront of what these laws look like for us.
I think it's less about a man versus a woman and more about
people.
The way society is now versus 50 years ago. People that you didn't even vote for, that are spending lifelong terms in Congress and such. You know, that's in the Supreme Court. That's more of an issue to me than worrying about if a man or a woman wrote this law or bill.
There's checks and balances to our government,
checks
but
and
I wanted to
balances,
ask you, would you, I'm a woman, I'm 100% pro-life.
Oh, you're a woman now?
I identify
She's
right
gender
now.
fluid.
I'm switching back.
Okay.
No, very fluid by
She's mocking it, Rob. Oh my gosh. Oh, this is savage. This is the savagery. She said, I don't give a fuck.
the hour. But would you be okay with, so I'm a woman now, for now, and I am very pro-life. You're okay with women like me making these laws? Because you disagree with the outcome there.
Oh, no. Checkmate.
You're pro-choice, right?
But the law
Checkmate.
is, if we're talking about Roe v. Wade, right?
Yeah,
The
as an
law
example.
is
Checkmate.
about, it's not about your ideal of pro-life. It's about abortion. It's about bodily autonomy. If you don't want to get an abortion, fine. That's what it's all about. It's your choice.
I want to sort of reverse it and ask you the question: should there be laws about women's bodies where there was no women involved? Because there certainly are.
Right, but we live in a system of government where there are states' rights, and I live in California.
And the elected parties, if you all just happen to elect the dudes in there, bro, then that's what the dudes are going to do. They're going to write up bills and laws and regulations. If you vote all the women in there, then they're going to do that, you know what I mean? So just vote your people in. Vote your people in, man.
And guess what? I don't agree with anything our governor is doing. I don't agree with the majority that is in our state legislature, yet I live here and I choose to live here, and if I have a problem with the laws, then I have the opportunity to move to a different state.
So just fuck all the people
Yeah.
who don't have the opportunity to move to a different state.
Everyone
then.
has opportunity to work, to
They
make a
don't.
life for themselves here in America.
They
What
don't,
I
though.
love about America is that this is the only place on earth that you can work and achieve based on your merit.
I was raised by a single mom
Facts.
who, didn't have the support she needed to really mother me. So by the time I was 15, I moved out of her home. And I lived with a boyfriend at the time. I fought my school board for better sex education. I fought my senator when he voted to repeal funding for Title X and birth control access to funding I relied on. And I told him, why would you deny me the American dream? And I shared with him that birth control was helping me to be successful, to go on to higher education. And now I'm on a full ride at Columbia University. I'm the first in my family to go to college. And in large part, that is because of access to birth control.
You guys mentioned that, there's not everyone has a bootstrap. And this is why feminism is such a weird topic to have in this particular country, because I'm from a developing country, I'm from Nigeria. Although my parents were quite successful, thankfully, but I grew up around poverty. I saw it every single day. And so to come to this country, to have to start over and make something of ourselves, and I see immigrants do it all the time. When you say things like, oh, I was raised by a single mother, or, most people don't have bootstraps, you're in America.
Exactly. How are people who are not from here coming through and making amazing lives for themselves? And you can't. It just becomes a question of determination of what is the dream state and what is your current situation and what you're willing to do to bridge that gap. Some people don't have enough gas in the tank to bridge that gap. Other people do. And especially people come from other countries, because it's do or die for them. They don't care. They've got nothing to lose. What's the worst that's gonna happen? Go back to my country? Fuck that shit. Work. And they work it out. Climb the ladder, bro. It's all about effort, man. There's a lot of sheer laziness out here, bro.
This is
the place to do it.
This is the place to do it. Find that boots, honey, and put it on.
No one's saying that there aren't
let's just
challenges.
find out.
We're saying that this is the best place
to do it. And I
have that
quickly-
challenge.
And I quickly want
The challenges are not distributed equally.
Nobody said
Yes,
that.
they are. Let me just.
Somebody did.
To say that
wait.
only women should make decisions about women's bodies is completely unrealistic.
I have to believe that there is a future where that is possible.
Well, of course there's a future. More women than ever are serving in our government. Of course there's a future. So of course women always have a seat at the table.
You're at Columbia. What are you? You moved out at 15, you're at Columbia. You're
Yeah, but when I
here.
graduated from UC Berkeley and I was
Bootstraps.
in my
She
lecture
said.
hall, there were 2 other black people, and it's 400 people in here. Like, that makes me uncomfortable.
It's not that we look at everything through an oppressive lens, it's that many of us hold different identities that allow society to continue to oppress us. A friend of mine had to travel across state for an abortion. She had the ability to select between paying for her disability, the things that she needs for her disability, or traveling for an abortion. Like, you guys don't have to think about that.
But that
she
was
has to
her
Decision to have sex.
No,
Unless it wasn't,
she
then
was
I'm
being
agree.
raped.
No, then I agree with you.
Raped.
Then I agree with you.
Okay,
100%.
But I shouldn't have to tell you that story for you to understand that there are certain things that you have not experienced that oppress
you
others.
You shouldn't just be hoping people understand some shit. People will give you empathy if they understand the situation. If you're just giving some vague situation and saying it should be like this, people are gonna be like, wait. Fill it out a little bit so we understand. Like that's the key of communication, is people hoping other people read their minds is just not realistic. You have to be willing to sit down and have discussions. If you can't sit down and have discussions, bro, what's the point?
Other people. Oh, okay, you're just traumatized enough for me to understand that maybe things are hard.
Feminism that doesn't include trans women isn't feminism.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
You surprised to see me here?
No.
Okay, good.
You know, it's really important to include trans women and trans people and gender nonconforming people, which, by the way, I am gender queer myself. I don't actually identify as a woman. It's really important that those of us who do have privileges, like, speak up for trans women in the community, especially because they're the most at risk for hate crimes.
I also want to just level set and say that we are having this conversation without trans women, right? We are sitting here today having
we
that
know that?
conversation without
For sure?
trans women.
I identify as
She's on a
trans. I'm not.
hold on. She identifies as non-binary, and she's on a feminist panel.
my pronouns-
So maybe she doesn't belong here either. They don't belong here.
Plot twist, I am biologically female and I'll never deny that. I lived as a woman for most of my life. I am 31. I only came out a couple of years ago. I spent a lot of time, the majority of my life in these spaces with women. That does give me a kind of unique perspective now being a trans non-binary person.
There's an issue with categorizing womanhood as a means of female. Earlier, it was mentioned by somebody on the anti-trans side about trans women coming in and taking over sports and things like that, which is just not true.
That is true.
It's not.
It is. I can show you a number of cases.
Show you
there
a
might be
number
people
of
that
science.
also haven't.
No, I can show you a number.
Trans women retain 30% of their biological advantage.
That is not
if
true.
they went through male puberty. Yes, it is.
That is.
Yes, it is.
That is not.
Let's not argue it. That's not even the prompts. We're not going to argue about that.
Because you're
You
wrong.
have to argue about the science, bro. I don't know, man. Arguing about the science is a ridiculous point of view. Just accept the point and move forward so you can make your greater point.
You are a trans woman, and you walk out in the world and you are seen as a man. You do not belong in women's spaces. I don't care what anybody says. I think that's ridiculous, and I think even trans women that have gender dysphoria that go through transition will agree with me.
This makes me so incredibly uncomfortable that we're even having this conversation.
You could go back
without
over
them.
there if you really wanted to.
Ooh. If we took all of that off the table, right? We're not talking about who can play
She's
sports
on
with
smoke,
who.
man.
Can people exist as who they are?
Absolutely.
It sounded like you were saying if a trans woman doesn't look like what you perceive as looking like a woman, they shouldn't be in feminist spaces.
I didn't say that. I said they shouldn't be in female spaces.
Okay.
Not feminist spaces.
Okay.
I think women...
I disagree with that, but
that's fine. It makes sense to biologically classify people. It also makes sense to socially classify people. Let's say my friend Blair White was sitting right here. That's my buddy. I love her. She's sitting right here. Do I think she lives her life as a man? No. Like we were talking about men making decisions for women as far as abortions are concerned. That's something she'll never experience.
There are women who biologically cannot produce. There are females, people assigned female at birth, who biologically cannot produce. Are you saying that those
That's what they are, man.
female women should not be able to have say in those laws
That's
either?
not what I'm saying at all. I guess my main issue with trans women being seen as women and not being seen as trans women is they're changing the definition of women and expecting everybody to go along with that. And that affects me, yes they are, and that affects me directly. You say trans women are women are trans women. It's a very different experience.
Trans women are women.
We're just going to agree to disagree with that. If you ask feminists
techie,
at a
man.
women's march,
Just want to say changing words that have been defined as techie, just make up new words, and that's okay. It's okay.
woman is, they can't even define it. How can you protect something and empower something that you don't even know the actual definition of?
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
Well, I will say J.K. Rowling calls herself a feminist and was canceled for not being pro-trans, which is kind of overtaking and reversing some of the work feminists have done in the past.
She's a billionaire.
Well, they criticize
She's
her.
fine.
They
She's
criticize
fine.
Her billionaire feelings are hurt. I'm so saddened for her.
Feminist movement.
This is interesting because like it just shows like they only care about the ones that are poor and impoverished. Once someone makes it out and they have something to say, oh fuck you, you ain't got nothing to say. You're rich and you got privilege. You're rich, right, and you got privilege. Stop it. Negating all the work that person had to do and probably did in the space. But anyway, man, it is what it is.
It does not allow anyone to have any other opinions but what you guys
But what
think
does
is
that
correct.
mean, though? Because
Yeah.
she's allowed to have that opinion, and she still makes a bunch of money.
Yes, she does.
What do trans women take away from women in the feminist movement?
The definition of words and what that means
Yeah.
and how that affects us directly.
Can you expand on that?
Yes, when you change the word woman, legally it has implications. Sexually it has implications.
But the word woman
directly
has changed throughout histories, throughout different cultures. Indigenous people have had different genders, different ways of looking at gender. The Torah specifically has 8 different genders, and we have recognized that for over 3,000 years. You're denying anybody's culture that does not agree with.
No. See, that's their definition. Use that word. Use the word they are using to define what they defined as that word. Make up a new word to define the things you think are this. Don't start switching meanings of words you already have. That you lose people in translation. So this is the problem, because when people read old text, let's say in the future, 10 years or 10,000 years, not even 10,000, let's say 1,000 years from now, when people read texts from now and they see the word woman, they're going to think, oh, that could be, anything. It's just a loose term they use to describe, this thing, but it doesn't stick. It doesn't mean anything. It could be anyone. You lose shit, but if you stick with meanings of words and just make new words on top of that, you can retain the meaning, so in the future you can catalog the evolution, bruv. I don't understand. It's not deep. It's not that deep. Just
Your
make up a new word,
perception
bruv.
and your worldview, because you hold so highly onto your identity and you see it as an attack on who
So
you
do
are.
all of
on sexual
so
orientation.
do feminists as a
But
whole.
it's
though.
nothing to do with sexual
It has exactly to do with sex. When you change the word woman and a lesbian is a woman that is attracted to women, how is that not directly affecting us?
What defines a woman is being born with biological women's parts, and that is what a woman is. And trans women are individuals who choose to live their lives as women, and I honor that. And everyone deserves dignity and respect, and I mean that. But at the same time, there are universal truths, and we have, as a society, gotten to this confusing, tangled place where there's your truth, your truth, your truth, your truth. There is one objective truth in what we are.
Can you explain to me the women in Guatemala who are born female, who are assigned female at birth, and then during puberty grow penises?
I can't explain it because I don't know anything about that.
That sounds like an intersex condition.
You try to.
Yeah, but that's what that sounds. That's exactly what that sounds like.
Feminists always try to tell us.
That sounds like when you get the XXY, when you have the 3 chromosomes, you have the XXY instead of just the XX or the XY. And yeah, that does happen. And again, that is the exception.
Actually about life. I said I was a raging feminist. She goes, I don't believe that.
I don't see that. I don't in what you've been saying. I can't see any traces of feminism in
My
what you're
mother
saying.
is literally.
We
the
heard a lot about your
poster
mom, but
of
what about
feminist.
you?
I am a woman. Looking at me, I am a woman. Born and raised a woman. Why are we trying to write women, born biological women, why are you trying to write us out of history?
You guys keep saying that there's a
That's exactly what my point was, is whenever people read back into the future, they might not understand what it means, any of these words mean, because they're like, bro, I don't know, they had so many different interpretations of this one word. Which one do they mean? And you lose things, you lose history by doing that. It's mad, though, it's mad, but,
biological reality of male and female, scientists do not agree with you.
Scientists that you choose to agree with. I mean, you can find a study and a scientist to back up anything you want to prove these days.
I choose to do peer-reviewed studies and not ones that are backed by political agenda.
Oh.
I'm sorry that my peer review.
Are they not peer-reviewed too? Wait, calm down. Are they not peer-reviewed too?
Studies tend to agree with the fact that trans women are women and that biology it does not exist in a binary. Never has and it never will.
I secretly crave men's approval.
Yeah. Men's approval has kept me safe in so many ways. Being desirable, being fuckable has kept me safe many a time. And it's no secret. I guess that's where I disagree. It's no secret.
Whoa, plot twist. Plot twist. Whoa. The people who want the power want the approval of the people in power. The people who hate the patriarchy want the approval of the patriarchy. Something doesn't add up here. I don't know. I mean, something fishy going on here. What's happening? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Approval is what stands between me and safety.
I firmly believe that the reason why I waited so long to come out with my transness is because I was afraid of losing male approval. It is so embedded into our society. I really pushed myself to present in a way that wasn't authentic to me for men.
I'm trying to unlearn this like very actively and trying to fight for nobody's approval but myself. Like, because it's not even that I should have men's approval or I should need men's approval or women's approval. I should need my own approval.
Yeah, and I mean, this prompt I think might be surprising for some folks to see us sitting here.
Yes,
we're like
yes,
so feminist, but like,
it is.
But it's a reminder that this work doesn't happen in a vacuum. And that because I am implicated in what is happening, right, in the issues, I am implicated in the issues, that's why I do the work. Because I am impacted by them.
Bro, she's speaking. She knows how to speak though. I ain't gonna cap. She's got good rhythm, good flow. She's able to convey her points with what seems like passion and integrity, and she means what she says. Hey, shit, power to you, sister.
I've never thought of a moment where I thought to myself, oh, I wish that man would find me sexy because I feel so empowered in myself. I always dress like this from head to toe, covered usually from head to toe, and I don't think I've ever experienced a moment, perhaps subconsciously, but I don't think I've ever. And, you know, I think that's also why, you know, with my platform now that I switched from a raging feminist to a femininity, which I was, and you can't tell me what I was and who I was. I had the shaved head, the armpit hair, all of it.
Did you really?
Yes, I did. And when I went from that to that, now I teach women.
She said I had the full starter pack, the full package, the full package.
Like dress modern and cover up and be feminine and soft and all of that.
Who are you dressing modern and modest for?
For myself, because it empowers me. I am Nigerian first and foremost, and because of that, in our culture, we've always been very modest. We didn't even have a word for it. It's just that's how women dress. We layer on top of layers on top of layers. And I remember when I first, you know, became a feminist and like moved into and I would show skin, I always felt so uncomfortable.
Why did you feel uncomfortable with
Lord. It's like, again, it's like, I don't like it, I'm going to do this. You should not feel like you should like it. You should feel like you should like. Bro, if someone doesn't feel comfortable doing some shit, don't let them do some shit, bro. Don't have to force them into situations where they are uncomfortable. This lady just said, this one here, she just said, when she was in a room as a black person and there's only white people, you kind of feel self-conscious and you feel uncomfortable. Facts. But it is what it is. But to tell someone or to tell her that you should stay in the uncomfortability, if you don't want to be there, you can move. But if there's something beneficial to be gained, you stay. So in her asking her, but why do you feel uncomfortable? I just don't like it, bruh. If you don't like it, you don't like it, bruh.
showing your skin? I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm just asking out of curiosity why you felt uncomfortable, like what the root of that discomfort was.
Because it's not who I am.
But I also think we'd be denying reality if we said when we put clothes on the morning, We didn't think about the way that we would navigate the world in them, right? The way that people would perceive us and think about us. And it's definitely worth noting that, like, you know, clothing choices are also about access to power, access to moving through spaces, being seen as acceptable in certain spaces, right?
Like covering up, not necessarily because you feel like that empowers you, but covering up because it's a sense of safety. Like so many, like one of the things that we have to, with my job, we have to correct officers on, like when an assault victim comes forward, like they're not allowed to ask, what were you wearing? Like, but that's because it's very bad. It's very, it's very dehumanizing because it implies that
it was their fault.
That it was their fault.
I think we can all agree on that. I was assaulted, fully clothed, when I was only 12 years old. So, you know, trust me, I know.
We're going to have a prompt that has to do with this.
Cool.
Yeah, I just don't really care about men. Like, men are not a part of my day. When I wake up in the morning, I think about how to be the baddest bitch, how to step into myself. So if that's looking like you from head to toe or showing a little cleavage, like it's going to be what it is. And men are going to like, the men I attract, they like me because I am like no one else they've met. Like they've never really experienced this new person.
That's
like
cap.
you can't.
There is no, like we all have our differences and little tendencies, but I guarantee you look far enough, we're not unique special things. Like
You don't know what their approval is, like especially when it comes to things like race and preference, and like nothing that I do is going to really be approved by men ever. So I might as well just do me.
But I do just want to say that men's approval, once again, it's not just about if they want to date you or marry you or have sex with you. It is about if they want to hire you, if they want you to be a part of their organization or their school. And so when we talk about wanting men's approval, we're talking about if they want to hire me, if they want to let me have access to that social mobility, and if they will allow me to be safe walking down the street or in a bar. Men's approval is so much deeper and more systemic than just romantic.
Are we allowed to, I have to agree with that, even though we're on the opposite end of this, because, you know, I'm a blogger and I write about women's, like, makeup, and, you know, for example, Dove is one of the brands that I am the face of, and when I go into those meetings, they are white men. And although I do not go
she was so shocked, she's like, what?
Into it thinking, oh my God, I should seek their approval, I do know that the way I dress conservatively gets me those checks.
And probably as a black woman, how you wear your hair as well.
Oh yeah, they love this hair. Oh, they love it. They love it. They love it.
I was trying to push you before.
No, I do that. But that's also how I was raised, and it's cultural. Nigerian women are very conservative by nature.
It's rational for women to fear men.
Yeah, that's stronger than you, bro. It's rational. It's rational.
Working with sexual assault and domestic violence victims every single day, it has completely just reopened my mind and my trauma, because I am a sexual assault survivor myself, which is why I got into the work that I do. It's every single woman, almost every single woman has some sort of story where she was in a room or in a space with a man and that man made her feel unsafe. And if every single woman has a story like that, it's rational.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why, again, I know I'm bringing this back to the trans issue, but that's why I think it's important to define what a woman or man or male or female is. Like, if it's just something in your head, then why do we logically have to be afraid of that specific thing if it's just something, a gender in your head? So there are biological differences that can make us fearful or make men react certain ways that are different than women.
Yes and no, but there's absolutely a different perception of a trans woman than a man. Like, in my experience, when women are in the same room as trans women, they're not as fearful of like, oh my God, this person could assault me, because the likelihood of trans people assaulting women is so small. Like, it's
because the population is so small. The population of them, like their numbers are just generally small, so that occurrence would be minuscule compared to majority. There's a lot of men, so
there's a reason for that.
I agree with that. Actual trans women. My point.
Trans women, period, not actual or inactual.
No, there is a thing. People that are claiming the trans identity but are not trans.
That's against the prompt.
That's true.
Men are not only scary, because of their biological difference, they're stronger, whatever, right? Some of the violence is that men can be abusive, harmful, and get away with it.
It's the systemic power.
It's the systemic power that is scary.
The reason that 90% of sexual assault cases go unreported is because of like roughly the 8% that are reported, only 2% of them actually face consequences.
And we seem to agree. We all agree.
Yeah.
Everyone agrees.
Tragic.
Right.
Some of my deepest, I honestly would say probably my deepest trauma is actually not my physical sexual assaults. It was the manipulation that I faced
after
in the workplace by someone who was not necessarily physical with me, but they manipulated me. They used their power to paint me in a light and push me out of that job that I loved.
Wait, but it's not making sense. Elaborate.
I'm so sorry you experienced that.
I agree, like the stats will say a trans woman, which I would say is a man, a trans woman, it is less likely, like very unlikely to attack. But it's not even, it's really kind of the principle. It's like, but if they were to, they would beat me up.
But then I'm going to take that one step further, which is that if they were to, and then the police were to come, what would their experience be like versus yours as a white woman?
I'm not talking about the cops. It's just me and
But
the
the cops
trans
are
woman.
a factor.
I actually hate the cops. Just saying.
I have a question.
I don't like cops.
If you see a male
Gotcha.
person and you see a trans woman, like, what does that have equal amounts of fear for you, or is there a difference?
So my thing, I'm trying to focus in on a trans woman wants to beat me up.
Why are trans women wanting to beat you up?
No, it's not.
It's a hypothetical.
I'm saying hypothetical. It's a hypothetical. I'm just saying, like, can we all agree that I would get my ass beat?
You would, yeah.
But I'm saying
Well, yes or no? I mean,
yes,
Yes.
maybe,
Yes.
but then,
Yes.
how would the experience be outside of just that
Why are we
hypothetical
going- I'm
vacuum?
not talking about this.
I want to finish my thought.
I don't know where this is going.
That's not the prompt, though.
No, but it is the
moving
prompt
maps.
because we're talking about, we can't talk about this in a hypothetical vacuum.
What's the prompt?
The prompt was that it's rational for women to fear men, but you're bringing in trans women when the discussion is men.
It's not about physicality for me. It's about power.
And that's what I'm saying. is that,
That's what you are
and that's what I'm saying.
Ooh,
is
that was
that
slick.
situation is
That
so
was
unlikely,
slick.
and it is unlikely because
It is
of the
unlikely.
difference in societal power that you hold over a trans woman.
That's not exactly true.
For people who love to
I understand what you're
who
saying.
love to criticize other people for assuming genders incorrectly, you love assuming how things are going to happen and like predict the future and how situations play out and how I'm treated by everyone else.
Well, you're hypothetical. That's a hypothetical. You're also
assuming what would happen to me.
You're assuming they would beat you up.
A man would beat me up. Yes. Yes.
You're assuming a trans woman would beat you up.
We'll be specific.
No,
A male.
basically saying if they got into a fight, they would win, and she wouldn't. And it is highly likely that is the way it would play out, unless she knew some secret martial arts that no one knew. But it is highly likely that she'll get her ass beat. So in that case, she's correct.
Male, yes.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. You want to avoid answering that part and go into this bigger, broad
What's
thing
the
to
question?
avoid.
Savagery.
If there's a biological man, a trans woman,
I disagree with you on the definition here.
Biological male.
But I'm a biological
We'll say male and
you
female.
can't even say biological.
Man or woman.
I'm a biological woman who is roughly of like not too big of difference of size. I could easily beat you
Right.
up. So why are you more afraid of them than me when I present just as equal of a difference to you? It's because of your
no, you obviously could be
No,
up too,
because
but
because
a
because
man
you,
would
but,
beat me up more.
no, you said this 5 minutes ago. Males, not men necessarily. Males create. Would you say 90% of? Would you say males create 90% of the crimes?
I didn't
sexual-
say, I
whatever
didn't
that-
say that.
there was something like that,
I
though.
said I was talking about reports of sexual assault, and that does actually include male assault victims.
That's my point. Right.
Can we bring her in? Fuck, that took ages.
Okay,
What the
so
hell?
let's start by saying the conversation that I just listened to, I don't disagree with much of what we were talking about. When this prompt was asked, I interpreted the prompt to say, to communicate, it is rational for women to fear all men. I know that the word all was not in there, but that's how I sort of understood it, which I don't think it's rational for women to fear all men. I think that's very tragic We know that there are bad men. We know that there are very, very good men. And I personally think that the amount of good men exceedingly overwhelms the amount of bad men. But that's just my personal opinion. I also, quite frankly...
That is true, because otherwise the world would be in the shitter, man. The world would be in the toilet if that was the case. And it's not. So there's... Statistically, it seems more plausible.
Fear women. I do. I fear how manipulative women can be to each other in the workplace. I fear how manipulative women can be to each other and how toxic women can be to each other when it comes to polarizing topics like we've discussed here, motherhood, other very incendiary topics.
We're talking about physical abuse with men, and actually with emotional abuse, it's most common in lesbian couples.
Really?
So,
yeah, that is actually.
You would know.
No,
you deal with it. It's
there
horrendous.
Is actually a statistic.
Horrendous.
Women are equally as likely to commit domestic violence. I genuinely, when I got into this work, I thought that it was going to be like, oh, just men commit domestic violence.
Oh, bro, look at this, man. Look at this, bro. Come on now. Patriarchy.
Women are
really
equally
bad.
as likely to commit domestic
But
violence.
why were you surprised by that?
Thank you.
Because I had a different definition in my head of what domestic violence was.
Just men.
Before I got my training. Domestic violence is not just like
Punching or
hitting, or physical violence. Oftentimes it's emotional violence, psychological violence, sexual violence, financial violence, legal violence.
Financial violence. Financial violence. I've never heard financial violence before. You throw a stack of cash at you. What the fuck?
And women are far more likely to commit psychological domestic violence or emotional domestic violence.
But why were you, with your original definition, the more violent definition of domestic violence?
Violence?
Yeah, physical violence. Why were you surprised that, women, like...
I wasn't surprised that
like
women
you
commit
assumed that
physical.
men would.
No, I wasn't
Commit
surprised
more,
that
though.
women commit physical violence, physical domestic violence. I assumed that I assumed that there was one definition of domestic violence, and that was physical. And statistics do show that men do commit physical domestic violence more than women do. That's just a fact. But
Like
when you add in all other kinds of domestic violence, women commit it at equal rates.
Yeah.
That's a wrap on the group discussion. Take a breath for a second.
Shit
I
was
do
crazy,
appreciate
man.
the ways in which we have been able to come together and agree, because I am of the opinion that feminism and anti-feminism, they do oftentimes blend, because I think a lot of the times we are misunderstanding what the other person's
We all
viewpoint
want
is.
what's good for women.
That's what I said over there.
We
I
just
said
have
we
a
all want
different
it.
idea of
what
what's
that
good for
is.
women. Yes, but we all want the best for each other.
Even if I disagree, I love strong women. I love it. It's not a gay thing, maybe a little bit.
And all of our intentions are good. We don't want ill.
That is
a wrap. Well, guys, let me know what you thought of the video, guys. Comment down below what you thought, different points in this video. It was a great video, amazing discussion. I learned a few things. I agree with a few things. You know what I mean? Yeah, it was very interesting. To be a fly on the wall, listening to this, man. There's a lot of smoke in here, man. More smoke than I anticipated, but it was lovely to watch. And I wish nothing but greatness for all the people on this panel, man. Hopefully they keep doing what they're doing, chasing their dreams and living the best lives they can. And yeah, live their best lives, man. Anyway, guys, I will catch you guys on the next one. And as I always say, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to spread love and not WarCraft. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Until then, peace.